Welcome back to Client Stories with DNAngels. I'm Brenda with Team Puerto Rico, and today I have an incredible story to share about truth discovery and the power of DNA. Some discoveries comes as a surprise, even when we think we already know the answers. Today's story is about Veronica, a woman who spent years piecing together her past, believing she had found the right answers until DNA showed her a truth she never expected. Veronica was adopted as an infant, and like so many adoptees, she always wondered about her biological roots. She longed to know where she came from, who her biological parents were, and why she was placed for adoption. She spent years searching, and through a private investigator, she eventually identified her birth mother, Cheryl. Hopeful for a connection, Veronica reached out. Unfortunately, Cheryl was unwilling to build a relationship with her. The rejection was painful, but Veronica found solace in connecting with her maternal sisters. Still, one enormous question remained. Who was her biological father? Cheryl refused to give her an answer. She had been married multiple times and had children with different men. Veronica was born between her mother's second and third husbands, leaving a window of uncertainty about who her father could be. Was he one of the husbands? Someone else? Cheryl wouldn't say. Veronica had always assumed that her mother kept this secret because she knew the truth was complicated. Perhaps Veronica was the result of an affair, but without any confirmation, all she could do was speculate. Through conversations with maternal relatives, she learned of a man named Reggie, had worked with her mother around the time of her birth. Looking at photos, the resemblance was striking. Veronica was convinced she had found her biological father. Her belief only strengthened when she compared the photos of her son to Reggie. The similarities were undeniable. The same chin, the same smile, it all seemed to add up. Convinced she had solved the mystery, she turned to DNAngels, not necessarily to confirm her discovery, but to validate what she already knew. I have to admit, when I saw the pictures, I was convinced too. The resemblance was uncanny. Genetics can be pretty powerful, and sometimes they lead us to believe we see connections that aren't actually there. But as a genetic genealogist, I knew that DNA doesn't lie, so we just had to follow the science. As I began working on Veronica's case, something felt off. When I looked through her DNA matches list, I couldn't find Reggie's surname anywhere. That was the first red flag. If Reggie was indeed her father, there should have been clear connections in her DNA to his family line, but there was none. Still, I didn't want to jump to conclusions. It was possible that Reggie's family name had changed or that there were other factors affecting the DNA matches. So I dug a little deeper. I built out her DNA tree, analyzing every connection carefully. That's when I found Betty. Betty was one of Veronica's strongest DNA matches. When I investigated further, I discovered that Betty was Veronica's niece. This was the breakthrough we needed. If Betty was her niece, that meant Veronica's biological father had to be related to Betty's grandfather. And that grandfather wasn't Reggie. Instead, all the DNA pointed to a man named Archie. Revealing this truth to Veronica was difficult. She had already convinced herself that Reggie was her father. She had built an emotional connection to him, even without ever meeting him. She had imagined a story that felt right, but it wasn't true. When I told her the DNA results, she was skeptical. She was skeptical. She had spent so much time believing one thing, and now I was telling her something entirely different. It was really hard for her to swallow. I completely understood her hesitation. The heart wants to believe what feels right, But science doesn't rely on feelings, it relies on facts. I gently walked her through the DNA evidence. There was no doubt Archie was her biological father. As painful as it was to let go of the idea that Reggie was her father, Veronica slowly accepted the truth. And with that acceptance came a new realization. She had more family than she ever imagined. Archie had two daughters. One of them, Betty's mother, had also placed a child for adoption. This meant that not only had Veronica been given up for adoption, but her own niece had also gone through the same experience. It was an unexpected and bittersweet connection. Two women from the same family, both searching for their origins. And then another revelation. Veronica had also placed a daughter for adoption as well. Three generations, three women, all linked by the same experience of adoption. It was a surreal and emotional realization. Veronica had spent her life searching for answers, and in doing so, she had uncovered a cycle that had unknowingly repeated through her family. Despite the initial disappointment of realizing Reggie was not her biological father, Veronica had begun to embrace her true paternal lineage. She had started connecting with her newfound family, building relationships with relatives she never knew existed. Betty, the niece who unknowingly helped solve this mystery, has become a bridge between Veronica and her biological father's side. The two women have started developing a relationship, giving Veronica a sense of belonging that she had longed for her entire life. Veronica's story is a reminder that while appearances can be deceiving, DNA never lies. Sometimes what we want to be true isn't what the science tells us, but the truth is still a gift. It gives us the foundation to move forward, to understand our origins, and to connect with the people who share our blood and history. If you are searching for your biological roots, remember this. Trust the DNA. It will lead you where you need to go, even if the journey is unexpected. So, to support Veronica on her journey, Veronica's search for truth was long and complicated, but she found her answers. Now she is building new relationships and moving forward with confidence in her identity. Let's leave a red heart in the comments to show your support for Veronica. Let's flood this place with love, encouragement, and hope. And remember, if you or someone you know is searching for their biological family, DNA Angels is here to help. Visit DNAangels.org to start your journey today. Goodbye, everybody.